going on, everybody? I'm Vinny Costa, editor of Street Muscle Magazine and your host of the RodCAST, the all-encompassing car show where we talk about all things automotive. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Greg Acosta, editor of Engine Labs and the all-around tech guru. What's up, Greg?
Yo.
How are you today, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm sitting in my new chair. Look at it, it's all racy and shit.
I see that. Is that a Recaro?
No, I ain't got that kind of money. Damn.
Right. But that's cool.
Got my new office. It's the same office, but I got my new desk, my new chair, my new keyboard my replacement new keyboard is coming. Like
Amazon special chair?
No, this was actually I walked into Office Depot and they had it on sale, and I sat in it because normally when I sit in these, they don't fit me right. Like they don't push on my lumbar in the right spot, and they're usually kind of narrow. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm a little bit wide. But yeah, I sat in it and I was like, ooh, I was not expecting to buy a chair that day.
Right on, dude.
But yeah, so my office is good. I'm good. I got my
I need
coffee.
to get a new one myself. Mine's kind of looking a little dusty. But that's cool, man. Hey, today we have a special guest that our audience will know, and they seem to love, Rob Finkelman, street muscle columnist who's done, countless articles on rare rides, Rob's car movie review, and Rob's movie muscle. So this week we thought we'd have him on because we're coming hot off of the heels of an article that he just recently did. Rob's movie muscle took a little bit of a different spin and did one on a TV show. We'll let him tell that story. And then also building on the strength of one of our past episodes, just a couple weeks ago, we built out a Mustang Mach 1, and it was met to much fanfare. So we thought we would have Rob on, who is a resident Mopar lover, and do the same thing with Challenger.
Yeah, although I will say, Rob and I were talking, and pretty sure he did the same thing with the Mach 1. So we probably should have included him on that one. Oops.
Well, I mean, we had been talking about doing that actually with Rob for quite some time over the past couple episodes that he's been on. And in our defense, I don't think we really intended on doing that episode. It just kind of happened naturally. We were talking about the car. We pulled it up online, and I happened to share my screen. So you guys took that journey with us unknowingly.
Yeah, that was just kind of like an organic thing that happened. And
and it worked. And so now we have Rob on to do the same thing, but this time for the Mopar loving crowd. So without further ado, let's jump into that right after a word from our sponsors.
Oftentimes, when we talk about performance fasteners, we talk about things like diameter and bolt material. However, the devil's in the details, as they say, and ARP's attention to the detail is what sets them apart in the marketplace. ARP's rolled threads use compressive force to form the threads, which not only makes a stronger thread and bolt, but also smoother threads over the easier to mass produce cut threads. Additionally, ARP doesn't form the threads until every other step of manufacturing and heat treating is complete in order to ensure the strongest threads possible in a fastener. This all results in a fastener that exceeds aerospace specifications for both strength and dimensional tolerances. To learn more about ARP's manufacturing techniques, you can check out the articles on Street Muscle Magazine or visit their site at arp-bolts.com.
Rob Finkelman, everyone. How are you, man? What's going on?
I am doing great, dude. I'm happy to be back. Every time I'm here, I have a blast, and behind the scenes, I'm always begging you to have me on.
No, it's us calling you, dude.
I'd say we meet halfway on that because I really enjoy this, especially during COVID. It's nice to at least virtually geek out with your buddies and talk cars and
Definitely, man. Well, we have a lot to talk about, like always, whenever you come on the show. It's for a good reason. Recently, we published one of your very popular columns, and it was a little bit of a twist on a column that you've been doing for a long time, Rob's car movie review. But this time it was
Movie Muscle.
This one was Movie Muscle. Excuse me. Sorry.
Muscle. Yeah.
Movie muscle is where it's a little bit more focused on a particular car from a movie and or TV series. This time it happened to be from a TV series, a very popular one from the 70s. Rob, you want to tell us about that article?
Yeah. I think we've touched on it before, but in the 3 monthly columns that I do, Rare Rides, Rob's Car Movie Review, and Rob's Movie Muscle, I tend to pick the subjects of the columns, with the exception of Rob's Movie Muscle, because if y'all out there don't know, Vinny was the one who actually came up with the idea for the column. And in deference to my friend and editor, Vinny, I usually ask him for a subject each month. And we were having a little trouble initially finding a subject this month. And initially you wanted to cover a movie truck instead of a car. So we were looking for a pickup, and we thought about the Terminator. And I thought of doing the, I think it was 1978 film, The Driver, with Ryan O'Neal.
Yeah.
And in that movie,
very cool truck.
Yeah, it's a really killer C10 Chevy. And unfortunately, every single idea we came up with, there was like little to no info about the cars. And I've run into that problem before, largely when I try and cover a car from an older TV show or movie, because in those days they weren't as fanatical about, keeping data or information, stuff like that. There wasn't the internet, so fan sites didn't pop up. In those days you didn't have fan sites or anything like that. And so I was really kind of having trouble coming up with it. And then you were the one who sort of went off on a tangent and said, all right, screw a truck. Let's just find a cool car. How about the Firebird from the Rockford Files? And I said, that's a good idea. And I actually did a quick check on the internet, and there was tons of information about it. In fact, it was in James Garner, the star of the Rockford Files, in his autobiography, he talked at length about that show and choosing the car for the show. So I had an overabundance of information to draw from: fan sites, Garner himself, all sorts of places. And I gave you the thumbs up and went ahead and we did an article about all the Firebirds, because it wasn't just one car throughout the run of the show. They actually would use a new model year car every year up until the very end of the run. Because interestingly, when the 78, 79 Firebirds came out, when the 79 Firebird came out, James Garner did not like the look of the redesigned front fascia with the pocket headlights. Right. And so they stuck with the 78 from the 78 season all the way to the end of the show, which if I recall was 80 or 81. They stuck with that 78 Firebird.
I appreciate you saying that, Rob. I mean, you and I have a really good collaborative relationship. We tap into what our audience wants to see just by being car guys and talking about it. And I was spending, like a lot of people, I've been spending a lot of time at home because of, COVID and everything. And so I went on, I have a smart TV and it's got like Vudu built into it. And I was just watching a lot of retro television because frankly, I don't like anything new that's on. So watching a lot of Magnum PI, SWAT, A-Team, stuff like that. And then Rockford Files was recently added to it. And obviously I'm a little bit too young to have caught the first go around. But I know that people just really love that show. And essentially it was Magnum PI before Magnum PI.
Yeah.
So I caught a few episodes and I was like, man, that's a really cool Firebird. And I see a lot of people getting the nomenclature with those second gen Firebirds wrong. Like they assumed, oh, this is a Trans Am, this isn't Trans Am. And so I know that, people love that show. People love that car. And I knew it was going to be met with a lot of love, like most of your columns. But this one seems to have a special place for a lot of people.
It does indeed. I was kind of looking at the numbers on social media where I promote my articles, and it was getting tens of thousands of likes and comments and stuff, and I think it's over 2,000 shares and things like that. And it seemed to tap into some sort of fond remembrance, like maybe it's a forgotten show to some degree, but there are people who were teenagers when that show was new who are still avid fans, or people who had just forgotten about the Rockford Files, and then to see it again brought back their a part of their childhood. I was when that show started, I was about 4 years old, and my mom liked it. And I can remember actually watching a few episodes with her, not really understanding what was going on. It was kind of sailing over my head. But I think, I think also James Gardner was a pretty beloved figure, not just in car guy circles, where he certainly was a very beloved guy, but I think in general, there was a lot of public love for Gardner. He seemed like, and apparently was, in doing my research, very down to earth, Midwest guy. He was from Oklahoma, and he became a big star, but never, got a big head about it. And he was also always supposed to be very gracious with fans and things like that. And his presence on screen sort of transmits that, that he's just
Definitely
a salt of the earth guy. And I think that, that resonates with people. And I have to admit, I was surprised by the magnitude of the reaction to the article. I think I got a handle on why now.
Well, people, you throw names around like from that era, like Steve McQueen and Paul Newman, guys who also were big in the, the automotive scene, racing motorcycles and cars and stuff. But people forget, I think, sometimes about James Garner, who was doing the same thing. I mean, the guy raced Baja 1000 and the Nora 1000 like a bunch of times, right? He even had a 442 that was like built for off-road racing. How sick is that?
Yeah. He also, I learned a lot about him. My familiarity with James Garner and cars actually stems from a classic 1966 film by one of my favorite directors of that era, John Frankenheimer, a film called Grand Prix. And it's a very long, it's like a 3-hour soap opera-y kind of melodrama. Following the 1966 Formula One season in Europe. And James Garner is the star of the film. And it's just a fantastic film. I mean, it's probably I would say that and Le Mans, Steve McQueen's Le Mans movie are really in terms of visually, they're really the two best racing films ever made. And so my familiarity with Garner as a car guy really initially came from that. He did all of his own driving in Grand Prix. So he was behind the wheel of real honest to God Formula One cars doing triple digit speeds around circuits that are killers, like Monaco, Watkins Glen in New York, which claimed the lives of a lot of great, even real Formula One drivers, in particular Francois Sever, who was Jackie Stewart's teammate, died there in 1973.
Yeah, he eventually went on to do some of his own racing that you're describing right now, but he had like a serious racing program that he was a part of.
Yes, he did. He started his own racing team. He raced in endurance races at both Daytona and Sebring himself. And as you said, the Baja 1000 and a bunch of other efforts. And this all stemmed from Garner's experience on the movie Grand Prix. He had previously liked cars, but was not like crazy like we are. And then in preparation for Grand Prix, the director Frankenheimer had him hook up with Bob Bondurant for like 2 whole months of daily race car training, in which he learned
not a bad gig.
Yeah, he learned high speed heel to toe shifting, threshold braking, turning into apexes, the whole drill, so that he could actually handle a Formula One car. Like most people think, okay, I can get behind the wheel of a Formula One car and at least get it around the circuit, if not, put in like a competitive time. But the truth of the matter is you can't. It looks easy on television, but nowadays, I mean, it's 1,000 horsepower cars that weigh like 1,000 pounds. I mean, the power to weight ratio is insane. And even back then, when Grand Prix was made in 1966, you were still talking 400 horsepower cars that weighed, like nothing. Like they were 600-pound cars with skinny little bias ply tires. And you can easily spin a car like that just getting off the line. You give it too much throttle off the line and around she goes. So Garner really had to learn just to be able to get the car around the track, much less at the triple-digit speeds that Frankenheimer insisted they do for realism. And in the process, Garner he just got the bug. He got the racing bug, he got the car bug real bad. And so every subsequent show that or film that he worked on, he tended to pick projects in which cars were a central element.
Naturally,
yeah. And in the article, I use a quote of his from his autobiography, in which he states that he was given the script for the pilot of Rockford Files by his agent, and he read it, and he said yes, based on the fact that Rockford is a car guy in the show. And the producers realized very early on how serious Garner was about cars, that they let him pick his choice of
Well, I noticed a parallel there, right? Like from another article that you did, it's a little bit different because he wasn't a producer, but when we discussed Don Johnson and him selecting the CUDA, which you helped him do, I thought I saw a similarity there. Like, oh, that's cool. These guys are both into cars. They both are, like, I'm going to be the star of the show. This is the car that I want. It's kind of natural.
Yeah, Don produced Nash Bridges himself and was definitely given a lot of latitude. And if y'all have read my article on the Nash Bridges CUDA convertibles or seen the podcast that we did about it, you'll recall what Vinny is talking about, that we had a production meeting where Don, who originally was possibly interested in using a GTO as his character's car, we kind of stumbled upon a book of Mopars and landed on a 71 CUDA, and he just, it clicked with him. And I
thought it was cool though too, that like, so Don, obviously like he's this hotshot detective in that show, and so he would, in theory, be driving a kind of a hot car, right? And so something that you would require a level of affluence, right? But James Garner went the other way. He's like, looks at the character, maybe a private eye who's not down on his luck, but just not, he previously was in jail on the show, or they allude to that. So he's a little bit more of like a grimy guy, and so he selected a car that was more akin to that.
Yeah, I found that interesting too. When producers gave him the opportunity to pick his car for the character, he kind of did what Don had done on Nash Bridges, like where he's trying to figure out the pros and cons of various cars. And he started narrowing in on a Firebird, and most people would instantly gravitate towards a Trans Am, which is the top end of the trim lines, with the big engines. In those days, a 455 heavy duty V8. But Garner realized his character was kind of a blue collar gumshoe type of guy, and he just wouldn't have the money to put down on a Trans Am, and so he felt that one of the lesser trim levels would be more appropriate, and he also considered the aesthetics of the car. A Trans Am.
Love that it's brown. It's so great.
The Trans Am, we all know, had hood scoops and wide tires and wider wheels and spoiler and all that jazz, and of course the screaming chicken on the hood, all that deal. And Garner just felt that none of that was appropriate. So a lot of people would say, well, let's go to the next step down, which was the Formula model. And the Formula model, while tamer looking than a Trans Am, still had like hood scoops and things like that. And Garner just didn't think that that was right. So he actually, they actually used the Formula models in the show, but dressed them to look like the Esprit, which had a straight hood with no intake scoops or anything like that. And if you're a careful viewer, if you watch episodes of the Rockford Files, you can recognize that the cars are actually Formulas because they have the twin exhausts in the back, which were not available on the Esprit models. But so basically he wanted to dress the car down to look like what, kind of a blue collar detective.
You always hear like terms about certain cars, so I have a first gen Monte Carlo, right? 72, great big car, but they always reference them as like the businessman's muscle car, right? Because of the options that were available at the time compared to, let's say, a Chevelle. That's kind of where my mind goes when I look at Rockford's Firebird. Like, yeah, it's a cool car, but it's not ostentatious. It's something that, he hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, he really did his homework. He knew cars and he knew character and combined the two. And I think found a very appropriate car, but at the same time, because of the color and stuff like that, it became iconic and emblematic of the show. And in fact, every episode of the Rockford Files throughout the run of the show, it was on for 7 years, I think. The Firebird always features in the opening title sequence. They never changed that he's seen pulling like J turns and stuff like that. So even going into it, if you had never, if the Rockford Files had been running for several years and you had never watched an episode, and one night you were like, oh, I'll check it out, you knew it was like it involved cars from the very opening of each episode, because there are always 2 or 3 shots of that car doing a jump or a spin or
I mean, how crazy is that? Like, people obviously, I know that that's a J turn, right? But people were calling that a Rockford because it was so like present on the show.
Yeah, it became known as the Jim Rockford turnaround. And in the article, there's a quote from Garner in which he explains how they did it. And it was a maneuver that enabled him, to reverse a car real quick, and involves pulling a handbrake and applying full throttle and then letting off the throttle and full brake. And he describes the whole thing in detail. And that was one of the things that he learned from Bondurant. He maintained a friendship with Bondurant even after he was done with the movie Grand Prix. And I guess a lot of the tricks and stuff that he learned were handed down from his mentor. So
yeah, man, it was a fantastic article. I really enjoyed reading it. If for everyone at home, if you're a fan of the Rockford Files, if you're a fan of second gen Firebirds or just movie muscle in general, go check out that article. It's live on streetmusclemag.com right now. Rob, like as we kind of wrap up the conversation about that article, I guess what like tidbits of information did you learn about that show or that car or James that surprised you the most when you were writing the article?
I felt it was, I mean, we've touched on some of it already. I found it very interesting that producers gave him so much leeway in terms of the character's car. Commonly, when there's a television show where, you know, the whole sort of franchise is built around an actor, you can expect them to be given a lot of input, but it takes a special producing and team and, you know, to hand over a decision that big to an actor.
Definitely.
You know, like Starsky and Hutch, you know, they didn't pick that Torino. And
I wouldn't have either, but that's just me.
Telly Savalas didn't pick his Buick for Kojak. You know, those were decisions that, you know, are done by committee. There's stuntmen who recommend what cars are good to perform stunts with and what aren't. And then there's, of course, the director or the art director or the vehicle wranglers. There's a whole number of people involved in things like that. So that was interesting to me that they trusted him and felt that his acumen, his automotive acumen, was strong enough to pick a car that was both practical to the character and could handle the stunt work that needed to be done. I found it interesting, a little tidbit, but that the license plate on Jim Roth's car was kind of an inside joke. The car's license plate was OKG 835 or 853, I should say. And OKG apparently stood for Oklahoma Garner. He was born and raised and went to school in Oklahoma. And the 853 stood for the date of his first movie role that he pulled his, you know, he did an audition and got his first acting job. Was in 1953, in August of 1953. And that was a joke that his agent insisted. Garner wasn't even in on that. His agent told producers, I was thinking about license plates and it should be OKG 853, and they did it. And, you know, Garner showed up on the set for the pilot and he's looking at the license plate and he thinks something's up, but he can't quite put his finger on it. And then it came out in a conversation with his agent that that's funny.
No, the voice that you give his agent is exactly what I would imagine.
No, that's how all agents talk.
Yeah.
Don't you know that?
Like a smoke-filled room and button tufted chairs everywhere.
Yeah. I'll make sure you never work in this town again. So, there's lots of stuff like that.
I saw toward the end of the article that you mentioned that the actual car was sold at auction not too long ago for a tidy sum. Do you remember how much it was?
One of them at least was sold. It was one of the 78s from, I believe it was one of the cars used, as I mentioned, for the last 3 seasons of the show, 78, 79, 80, because Garner didn't like the looks of the 79 Trans Am. And it was sold at Barrett-Jackson, I think it was in 2019, and fetched over $150,000, which is pretty remarkable for, you know, a not so special, you know, beyond the fact that it was a movie car, a not so special muscle car.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It still had like the camera hookups and things inside the car.
Yeah, it had microphone hookups in the dash so that for interior scenes where Garner is driving in the car and maybe talking to a passenger, they'd have hidden lavalier microphones under his collar, and those would plug into the dashboard where there was a transmitter, and the dialogue would then go to an external recording device. And cool. It still says James Garner's mic and stuff on the panel on the dashboard of the car. And I mean,
hey, where they filmed that show and where his trailer was supposed to be is actually near your neck of the woods, isn't it?
It is. In the show, he lives in a trailer, which he parked in an area of Malibu called Paradise Cove, which is right on the beach. It's just east of Zuma Beach. And there's now a really fun restaurant there. It's been there for quite a while. I don't think, though, it was there when they shot the Rockford Files, but it's just called Paradise Cove Grill. And you can eat inside or you can go out on the beach, and they have umbrellas and chairs, and they'll serve you like shrimp cocktails and whatever you want right out on the beach. And that's where Jim Rockford lived. And that's, I don't know, about 10 minutes from my house here.
Oh, no way. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool, man.
I never knew that. So it puts a new perspective on Paradise Cove the next time I go there for margaritas or whatever. I'll definitely try and figure out exactly where Jim Rockford's trailer sat in the
right on, man.
Yeah.
Motor oils and additives are the two most important pillars of the German company Liqui-Moly. Beyond that, the company sells service products, car care, greases, pastes, underbody protection, and windscreen adhesives. They also offer the tools and equipment required to use those products effectively. There are a total of more than 4,000 items, which make Liqui-Moly a globally unique, full-range retailer for automotive chemicals. Along with cars, Liqui-Moly also has its own product range for motorcycles and bicycles, for commercial vehicles and construction machines, for garden devices and industrial applications, as well as for boats and small aircraft. In order to ensure the consistently high quality of its products, Liqui-Moly produces its oils and additives exclusively in Germany. So, if you want to check out the high quality products of Liqui-Moly, go to liquimoly.com. That's LIQUI-MOLY.com. Well, hey, like I mentioned, you guys, if you want to check out that article, it's live on streetmusclemag.com right now. So go check it out. Leave us a comment in the comment section below and let us know what you want to see next on Rob's movie Muscle. I think maybe I was joking with the other day, maybe Kit. I don't know, another Firebird. Who knows? We'll see. But I want to do something that we've been talking about for a while now, Rob. Greg and I kind of did like a little bit of a our own spin on it last, or what was it, 2 episodes ago, Greg?
I think I know what you're talking about.
It was, when this airs, it'll be God, I hate like editorial time, magazine time.
It's like, okay. So it was like 2 weeks ago. Greg, so we basically went online as soon as we heard about the launch of the new Mustang Mach 1, and we built one, and we spec'd one out how we would want to do it, and we kind of were talking back and forth about some of the things that we liked about the car, some of the things that we didn't like about it, and so like I mentioned, it's something that we've talked about doing with you in the past, and I know you're a big Mopar guy, so maybe you can run us through your process if you have the ability to share your screen with us.
Real quick, before Rob jumps in, before we started recording, Rob and I are talking, and he was doing the same thing we did on the show on the Ford configurator. So he was sitting there building them too.
Yeah, I had noticed that that Ford had updated their website with the 2021 or is it 22 model year Mustang? 21, and found a particular shade of blue that I quite like called antimatter blue, which is a very dark metallic blue. And I built myself a GT500 in that color, and it looked splendid. So I hope to see one in person at some point, and who knows, I might have to add to the stable.
Well, I guarantee you that color is going to be on the lot because it's going to be very popular.
Good. Yeah, I think so too. So, so how do we do this? I'm raring to go.
Yeah, Greg.
Mopars.
Yeah. Okay. So Greg,
pull it up like you did last time, Vinny, and we'll.
Oh, you want me to do it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Pull it up like you did last time and share your screen. And
you got it.
And we'll go through and argue about the different options. And
is it just Dodge.com? You think?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be. So Dodge.com, vehicles. So obviously we have to build something that's comparable to that Mach 1. So what are you guys thinking? What it would be?
Does it really have to be comparable to Mach 1? Like, is that what we're going to do?
I mean, it doesn't have to, but I mean, it kind of makes sense.
What would be comparable? Because I mean,
well,
it
would be
if you were going to build a comparable car to the Mach 1, you probably want to stay away from Hellcats.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's like GT500 territory.
Right. So I would say like a Challenger Scat Pack is.
I was thinking Scat Pack, but what do you guys think about
Scat Pack wide body maybe?
Yeah. Okay. So Scat Pack wide body, but what
I
about
have something to say about that? Hang on.
Okay.
Let the controversy begin right here. Okay. Before people savage me, people watching this savage me, I've been a Mopar guy for a long time, over 20 years, a diehard Mopar guy. I'm a Challenger owner. I have an SRT Challenger. And so don't take offense at what I'm about to say.
You know, it's going to be good when he puts that many disclaimers on it.
But
yeah,
I do not like the wide bodies. And I'll give you two good reasons why I don't like the wide bodies. Number one, just from a purely aesthetic standpoint, the regular body cars are much more attractive. Dodge did not, in my opinion, do a good job flaring out the fenders. Had I
disagree.
He's right.
No, I'm your guest, so you're gonna let me speak, and then you'll tell me why I'm wrong. Okay,
okay, let's hear it.
Let me get it out there. If I were designing the Challenger wide body, I would have done flares that blend into the bodywork of the car. What Dodge opted to do was to have a more just like bolted on look. And to me, that bolted on look is exactly what aftermarket wide body kit builders were doing before there was such a thing as a wide body Challenger. And it looks very boy racer to me. It looks stuck on, it looks kind of cheap to me. Okay.
Have I not been saying that, Vinny? Seriously, have I not been saying that to you?
Yeah, well, Greg, it all goes back to the fact that we're like brothers from another mother.
Yeah.
I mean, we share a brain.
Listen, no, look, I want to answer you, Greg, but Rob told me I have to wait to hear all of his reasons.
Okay. So that's number one. From a purely aesthetic standpoint, I think it looks tacked on and like an afterthought. Having said that, of course, I recognize the fact that especially in Hellcat models with either 717 horsepower, or in the case of the Red Eye, 797, and in the case of the Super Stock, over 800 horsepower, transmitting that to the road on a standard body set of tires, which are 275s out of the factory, is impossible. You cannot use that much power with 275 millimeter width tires. The wide body packages afford you a 305 tire stock. And you're starting to get into some serious meat there. So if you track your car, your Challenger, then by all means go buy a wide body, and who cares how it looks, because you're competing, okay? But in terms of aesthetics, I will reiterate, the normal body cars look much better.
Okay, so that's only one reason.
Wait, I'm not done.
All right.
The second reason, and then it's your turn, is that just from a philosophical standpoint, when the Challenger, the new Challenger, was first unveiled as a concept car in 2006, it very closely resembled the Challengers that we all know and love from the early 70s, the E-body Challengers and of course Cudas. And it's what attracted me personally to the car in the first place. Dodge did an amazing job, and I think we've touched on this before. Out of the big three American muscle cars, the Camaro, Mustang, and Challenger, Dodge, in terms of styling, really of the three hit it out of the park. They've managed to not significantly change the looks or proportions of the car since 2008 when it was first released, or 2006 for that matter, when the concept car was just shown. And the reason for that is it's just an amazing design that harkens back to an iconic, like an all-time iconic muscle car, arguably one of the prettiest muscle cars ever designed, the E-body Challengers and Cudas. And for me, because of that, putting a wide body kit on that car destroys that retro cred. Like the whole point of the Challenger was it was a retro design. For Greg, like the retro design of the Mustang released in, what was it, 04, Greg?
05. Yeah.
05. You know, that was a period of time where retro was really in. And Dodge just nailed it. And I think you slap a wide body kit on an amazing design and you sort of dilute the retroness that made it popular. End of scene.
Yep.
Now,
Okay.
Vinny.
Well, you've made my work very easy, Rob.
I'm just going to say this. I will stamp my name to everything Rob just said.
Okay. Well,
I'm just saying. Just
I can easily counter both of those points because I like the car. It's like for the exact opposite reason that you stated. The design was getting stale. They had to do something. You know, they couldn't. It was. I mean, 13 years almost, right? Like it's been around for a while. And they've made millions of them, and they sell like hotcakes. People love the car, so they had to do something to update the look of the car without totally redesigning the car. So, you know, to your point, yeah, it cost them. It probably to you looks cheap because it was cheap for them to do it, right? I mean, how hard was it to just bolt those fender flares on?
Yeah, and it started. We should mention at this point that the first wide body Challenger was the Demon. And it was really by necessity because they were putting 840 ponies with race gas into the Demon. And with anything less than 300 series tires, you just spin out.
And that's the exact other reason why I love it, right? Because it's performance oriented. They did it out of necessity. Who doesn't want a wider tire on their car, right? Whether you're at the drag strip or at the racetrack. I mean, it just makes sense, right? Let
me pose this to you. Do you know on the stock 11-inch wheels on a Challenger Hellcat normal body, do you know you can actually get pretty close to fitting 305s on there without rubbing?
I do know that with some crafty offset on the tire or on the wheels. I mean, you can make it work for sure. But like I said,
in that scenario, if you knew you could fit the same rubber under a narrow body or just go with a wide body, you'd still be partial to the wide body? I
happen to actually really like the wide body. I like the flares on the car. I think it was a smart move for them. It didn't cost them a lot of money, and they were able to, you know, they marketed it right? So they first put it on the Demon. So then everybody else who has a Challenger or wants to buy a Challenger is like, I want those because that's on the Demon, right? So it was perfect marketing for them.
While you're saying this, man, all I'm hearing is that meme about the racers handing it off. I want that too, right? And then number 2, splitter guards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry.
Don't get me started on the splitter guards, and don't get Tim Kuniskis started on splitter guards either, because he hated the fact that people were keeping him on so much that now when you buy a brand new Challenger, the splitter guards that come with it are like a light pink to deter people from wanting to keep something like that on their car. They used to be yellow, which kind of looked,
hey man, spray paint is cheap.
I guess so.
The question is, do they still have remove before delivery molded into them?
They do. They do indeed.
Okay, so I'm all for like taking them off. Like that's a no-brainer, right? Take them off. But if I bought the car and it came with those, I would think that those would one. No, I'm just saying like one day those will be a collector's item. You know what I mean? Like people would want to hang on to them.
No, they won't, because there are eBay, sellers knocking them off by the literal container load from China. No,
in the future there will be ways to tell a real one from a fake one, and that's what's going to make the real ones worth more.
I don't know, because this is a disposable item. Remember, I mean,
dude,
the real ones are disposable items.
Ask Rob. Mopar guys are crazy about this kind of stuff.
As much as I hate agreeing with Vinny on any of this, Greg, I'll put two things out there on the Indeed, on the Challenger and Hellcat forums out there. People list their splitter guards on sale, and they get like $200, $300 for these stupid pieces of yellow plastic or pink plastic. So there is a demand for the originals for whatever reason. I don't know much about this, but maybe the knockoffs do have different castings, or the writing is, the font is different on it, or what have you.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say that maybe is in line with this, I have I bought an old 71 Mercedes 280 SL Roadster 25 years ago. I bought this car, and it was a one owner car. It only had 20,000 miles on it new when I bought it in 1994. And one of the biggest things about the originality of the car was the fact that it came with the original toolkit bag in the trunk of the car that was supplied with the car when it was new. And I quickly learned that if I ever brought my 280 into a shop for service or whatever reason, I had to make sure to keep the toolkit at home, because they get stolen a lot. And the reason they get stolen is if you're trying to find the correct original toolkit for a 71 280 SL, be prepared to spend several $1,000 nowadays, as much as $7,000-8,000 for a
good Lord.
And because those cars are shown, at concours events where they're judged, and if you don't have the toolkit, you can't even compete in a judge show with one of those cars. So I still have my original toolkit, and I can kind of understand what Vinny's talking about. I would take them off and maybe save them, but I hate them. I mean, I think it looks real dumb, and I see them all over Malibu and Los Angeles, Beverly Hills. I see guys driving along in a Hellcat or what have you, with the yellow splitter guards, and I'm like, you're
all right. Listen, I gotta herd this group of cats back to our original mission. Okay, we are all in agreement that those splitter guards need to come off.
And but Greg and I are in agreement that the wide body sucks, and you're wrong. But
well, we'll let the viewers decide. Drop a comment in the comment section below and tell us who's right.
Right.
And just it's VINNY. That's how you spell it.
No, it's okay. IE, because that's how you show that you're saying that under distress.
Oh gosh. Okay. So are you guys seeing what I'm seeing?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So in the interest of doing something that's comparable, obviously we're not going to go with the GT. The RT is too basic. It's not as, definitely not an SXT.
No, that's a 6-cylinder. I would honestly, I think the Scat Pack normal body.
I really think that the Scat Pack wide body is it, because you talked about the 305 tread width tire, and that's the same thing that the Mach 1 has. So
with
if they're
package,
if that's the case, then you're right, because if we're gonna, talk about the cars in terms of performance, then, we're pretty close with a 392 versus what's in the Mach 1, Greg, the Coyote.
Yeah, it's a Coyote. It's a 5-liter Coyote with the GT350, the GT350 intake manifold, so it makes 480. So It's got 20 more horsepower than a regular GT.
So we're right there, because the 392 Hemi is I think it's rated at 485 horsepower. So we're neck and neck on power. Then Vinny, we go with the wide body. I'll concede that.
Okay, and then they're starting at the similar MSRP. I'm sorry, go ahead, Greg.
I think I was going to point that out. I think the Challenger might be coming in cheaper to start.
Well, they're similar. They're not exactly the same price, obviously.
Well, let's see where we are after we're done, because I mean we added quite a bit to that Mach 1 money wise.
Okay,
but
so
my gut says this is going to be cheaper.
As we start working through everything, obviously, you start with the paint selection. I like the Go Man Go,
yes,
but
Go Man Go.
Best color available on a Challenger. Mine is black. I just wanted to go basic black with a black interior. But if I was going to buy a second Challenger, there is no question in my mind what color it would be, and it would be Go Mango Orange.
That's fantastic.
We're all in agreement there.
Yeah.
You also have Hell Raisin, which is a really cool color. I bet you have to pay more for it, if I had to guess.
Hey, do you remember? I think the last podcast we were involved with, we were talking about the Springfest Mopar show that the guys from SRT attend, Kaniskis and Ralph Gilles and all those guys would attend. And I think I mentioned to you guys how at Springfest a few years ago, they actually brought color samples and allowed all the attendees of the car show to vote on what colors they liked the best. And in a perfect example of Dodge really listening to their core customers, they actually took the ones that we voted on and made them Challenger colors. And Hellraisin, as a matter of fact, it was called Black Eye when they presented it to us at the show, but Hellraisin was one of the colors that we picked.
That's not very PC.
I don't.
That's not what.
Well, none of their
to call it Black Eye.
Well,
yeah,
that's but it's right.
That was for just a few thousand faithful at the show.
Dodge is edgy, man. Hellcat, Demon, Ghoul, supposedly Ghoul. But you look at their naming conventions, it's so cool. Like when we went through the Mach 1 the other day, like the colors are just pretty basic names, but these are great, right? Like Hellraisin, Smoke Show, let's see, Triple Nickel, Indigo, clever, Frostbite, Octane Red, White Knuckle, F8 Green, Cinnamon, Go Mango, of course, Red.
Let's do the cinnamon on the configurator.
Cinnamon stick was also a color we picked at Springfest along with Smoke Show as well.
Yeah, I dig Smoke Show. That's cool.
I feel like the cinnamon looks better in person than it does on the configurator.
You know what, guys? We're wasting time because
I know. Let's pick a color.
We all know what color we buy. So
Frostbite's pretty good. Okay, so moving on. Build and price. Let's see.
I'm surprised there's only 18 in your area. That's a little. I feel like there will probably be 150 down there.
I think the factory that builds Challengers up in Canada has been closed because there's been a shortage of chips. Out of the Far East, and the factory in Brampton's been closed for a couple of months now, I think. So
that reminds me,
have a lot of inventory.
I'm gonna selfishly use our platform to say, because of the chip shortage, if anybody out there has a good deal on any GPUs, I could use a new graphics card. So, which are currently extremely hard to find at some kind of normal price. So if anybody's listening has a bunch, I'm selfish.
Stay
I'm being
focused
selfish.
here.
No graphics card. I need one. Come on, guys.
We're about to get into another controversial area where we're gonna have to agree to disagree, because stripes and decals are the next option.
Yeah, I see that. $500 for a bumblebee stripe.
Let's see it.
Which is a great deal on stripes. You know, so, I know on the Mustang, if you want white stripes on your GT500, you have to pay a lot of money for it because they're hand painted. And with Dodge, you get that great iconic bumblebee stripe that dates back to the late 60s for $500. But here's the controversy. I love sleepers.
Yeah, I'm not about the stripe. I like it on the Mustang, not on this car.
No.
I'm into sleeper cars, and if we're going with an orange car, it's not exactly like an unnoticeable color to begin with. I don't think you need to festoon it with stripes or anything else. I think the color says it all. And if I were building the car to buy myself, I'd ace the
Agreed.
stripe.
Yeah,
Plus $500 for such a small amount of vinyl. Like that's just hard for me to deal with. Like I understand absolute value and all that. It's just,
factory installed. Like, yeah, okay, all right, fine. It's an option, but no, it's not for me.
no.
Okay. Wheels.
Okay, wheels, carbon black aluminum wheels for $1,300.
This is interesting because right before we went live, Greg and I were talking about wheel choices. In particular, we were talking about, I had built that antimatter blue GT500 the other day and remarked to Greg, if you're not going for the $18,000 carbon track package, whatever that thing is, where you get yourself a set of 4 real carbon fiber wheels, you have no wheel option with a GT500. They give you black wheels, period.
If you don't get that option, it's like such a heartbreaker. I love those carbon wheels on that car, man. But
who's going to pay $18,000 on top of an already not cheap? Really?
No, you're not, Vinny. It's because it's making money.
Oh, I thought this was we were dreaming. Okay.
If we're make believing, of course.
If we're dreaming, then just solid, 18 karat gold wheels or whatever you want.
Good. If you're in the market for a brand new GT500, you're going to pay upwards of $100,000 for that car anyway. So what's another 18%? Yeah, it's 18%. But if you have enough money to buy that car, you come on, get the car.
That's still a huge amount.
It's a lot of money to me for a set of 4 wheels and a wicker bill, which is I think comprises the package.
Okay, but ask yourself this though: could you buy them cheaper?
Yes, I've seen several several sets for about $3,000.
No, you couldn't. You couldn't buy real GT500 carbon package wheels.
Yeah,
no,
secondhand, absolutely. I can go on my Facebook.
Who wants to
now.
buy them secondhand? You want the build sheet to say you bought the carbon package.
I mean, I'll give you that, but I'm just saying I've seen several pairs or several sets come through my feed, my Facebook feed, for way less than $18,000. Okay. I mean, there's even some that I've seen pop up on Mustang 6G for like $6,000 a set.
For me personally, I'd rather take that $18,000 and put it into the performance of the car in terms of, I mean, I know the carbon wheels save a lot of weight, but $18,000, you could replace the supercharger with a bigger supercharger. You could do a whole hell of a lot of work to a GT500 and get more for your money than a set of 4 wheels and a wicker bill for $18,000. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not.
Okay. Well, anyway, back to our Challenger here. I'm not a huge fan of the design of the Devil's rim. It's kind of a bronze color, which I'm not a big fan of unless you're driving like a 78 Bandit Trans Am. I don't want gold on my car. So I think I would actually opt for the black wheels in this case, the carbon.
Let's see what they look like. Because I mean,
throw them on.
I missed a lot of what you were saying because my headphones died, Rob. But just I just want to clarify the carbon wheels are awesome. Anyways,
I was just saying I'd probably go with the black wheels in this case because the Devil's rim wheels are bronze, Vinny, and I'm not a big fan of bronze. If they had offered like a graphite colored wheel, I might go for that.
Yeah, I like the style of wheel. They're very similar, but I like that one slightly better. But definitely, you can't go wrong with black, especially on an orange car.
I think I would take the carbon blacks and maybe powder coat them.
Okay, but you guys were quibbling over a mere $18,000, and now you guys are ready to spend $1,300 on basically the same.
That's not a bad deal,
dude. It's the same wheel.
It's not the
same wheel, just a different color.
Not even close.
Five spoke. It's very similar. It's very similar.
It's a different design, but I'm not even concerned so much with the design because both designs, I mean, there's nothing outstanding about either design. They're pretty basic looking. I'm just talking about color. And with a bright orange car, I think I'd rather have black wheels.
I agree. And I would spend $400 and get these basic ones powder coated.
See, okay. I prefer the non-basic ones, but
okay, fine. Let's be honest. Our $1,300.
But let's be honest. What am I going to do? I'm going to go buy some 5 spokes. You know that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, all right.
You know that's what I'm going to do.
What's the
no ifs, ands, or buts.
You got to do the red brake calipers, man. You got to.
Yeah.
$600 just to have red brake calipers.
They're Brembos, dude.
Oh well, no. Okay, so they are
6-piston Brembos.
You get Brembos regardless.
Yeah.
No, I know. I'm just saying they're Brembos. They have to be red.
Yeah. No, I'm not arguing. I like the red. I just think like,
dude, that's one of the things with the Mustang. Why getting that 6-piston Brembo upgrade, I have such a hard time with it because it's black and you only get black. Period.
Yeah.
I don't mind black. Greg, remember on the Mach 1 how much the locking lug nuts cost?
Well, it was a security kit.
Yeah, as a security package.
Yeah. How much? Like double that?
$399, I think.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
I think it was even more. I think it was closer to 500.
Dude, you go to Summit Racing or Jags and you get a set of locking lug nuts for $50-$60 tops.
Yeah.
I mean, here these are Mopar ones, 75. I mean, I'd get them. You know, if a car was on the lot and came equipped with those, I certainly wouldn't. I don't think you could
even buy like aftermarket ones for cheaper. I mean, that's a good deal.
Yeah, so just go ahead and
there we go. And then this one's a no-brainer for me. I would get the P0s, but the all-seasons are good.
Here's the thing, Vinny. If you're buying a 392 Scat Pack for fun, like it's your fun car, right? Maybe not even your daily driver. Maybe you just take it out on weekends and you take it to the track and do some drag racing with it. You're going to go through those tires. It's not going to take long to destroy those tires. Would you rather buy a good tire versus a Pirelli?
Easy. I like the P0. I have them on my Camaro and they're pretty good tires. You know, okay, would I rather have a Michelin, Pilot Sport 2 or something? Yeah, definitely. But you're talking about $1,000 a tire.
Okay.
I'm choosing all seasons because I live in the mountains where a beautiful summer day can turn into a monsoon real quick. And I do have to drive in snow occasionally. So
personally, I would probably just go with the all seasons too. And
I think that's probably what most people would choose. We'll just go with that.
You just kill them and then you throw on a decent set of tires after that.
Yeah.
I hate the SRT performance spoiler for a number of reasons. I know it's a popular thing on Hellcat and Hellcat Red Eyes. It's not a particularly good looking spoiler. And when you get it, it also drops the SRT badge off the back. And these cars don't have a lot of badges on them to begin with to distinguish with what they are.
And but you said you like sleepers.
I do, but I kind of like having the only SRT badges on this car are on the rear spoiler and in the front grille, and they're both pretty small. And there's 392 logos on the front fenders, and that's all the badging you get.
to me, I like it on the fenders. I like the B logo. It's cool. The 392. And I actually really like this spoiler a lot. I like how it comes down over the rear quarter panels. I just like the overall shape of it. I think it's a little bit more.
Rotate to the side and tell me what you think about it from the side, because it's an odd looking design.
No, I the one that I borrowed from Bondurant when it was still called Bondurant, it had that spoiler. It had the twin snorkel hood scoop. It had the flares. It almost looked exactly like this car, and I really liked it.
Can I be? I'm not even talking aesthetics. I can't swallow $1,000 for a spoiler like that. I mean, and I'm really struggling because I know we're in make-believe land right now, right?
Yeah,
I struggle. Yeah, I struggle with that. Yeah. I mean, I just to make sure I wasn't crazy, I went and Googled Challenger wing, and yeah, there's plenty of nice options for $300. Yeah. So I'm going with no personally. I
would go with no too, but Vinny, since I got my black wheels, if you're insistent on this, you can have your performance spoiler.
I vote. I'm using my veto on you guys right now because I like it, and
your veto.
I could justify it by saying it's on the build sheet. So there you go.
I'm like I said, I'm not opposed to it. I'm opposed to its price.
Okay. Right. So, but this is what we're left with. This is what the car looks like now that we're done building the exterior. And I think it's a freaking gorgeous looking car, man.
It is. It really is.
You don't need to go any further than go mango. I mean, again, I got to reiterate, you throw that color on any Challenger and you are good to go from a super stock on down to the 6-cylinder SXT. It's just the best color that Dodge offers.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. The hood with the scoop and the air outlets right here on the sides. The heritage grille with the script lettering. It's a fantastic car. Beautiful.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on to the interior, Scat Pack logo houndstooth seat.
The seat to have on the Scat Pack is really the Napa and Alcantara seat. Yeah, that's really the most popular. On the Hellcats, you can also choose a full leather seat, which I actually like better because it holds up better than Alcantara. But what they offer you here, it's either a really basic cloth, they call it houndstooth, but it's basically just like a rental car cloth seat, which is horrible.
I like cloth. I am a cloth guy. Like I just.
But we live in Arizona where it's 110 in the shade and leather seats suck.
Yeah, Greg and I talked about this on the last episode where we did the Mustang, and I was kind of bashing them a little bit for not offering some of the things in Alcantara. And you could get Recaros, but they were still like a sort of cloth. They weren't Alcantara.
Right.
And that was all based on driving like a ZL1 and driving this car, a Challenger. And so like the basic options to me are they're all not very good. I know cloth, like Greg, you like cloth, and that's fine. Like if I had to choose between straight leather or cloth, most of the time I would choose cloth for comfort, like you're mentioning, Greg.
Right. Well, on the Challenger though, I should also tell you that when you choose the Scat Pack Napa Alcantara seat, it also changes the dash trim from a very basic gray plastic surround on the instruments to an engine turn. They call it engine turn metal.
It looks good. It's like a turn, like hand turned, like almost like silver leaf.
Yeah, click on the black.
It's not updating.
Yeah, it is.
For some reason.
It just kind of did.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong, because on the Hellcat, when you choose the leather or Alcantara seats, it gives you that engine turn look. Maybe that's not the case on the Scat Pack.
Ooh, I think I'm going to like the red, but is that going to clash too
Vinny,
much?
At the bottom, see where it says 3 additional changes? Click on the question mark and see what the changes are.
Oh.
No.
No.
Going to F8. So just click the black seat.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, but interesting. So you can only get the red interior with F8. That's so weird. That's like a Christmas car.
Yeah.
What about this one?
I think it said camel too.
Let's see. Oh, okay. So you can get the tan with the Go Man Go, which would be horrendous. And the green. Nope. No, thank you.
I've never been a fan of anything but gray and black interiors.
Same.
I like red, but it has to be like on a black car or maybe a blue car. Yeah.
So when I hit the lottery, I need to get you a porno red interior Fox body.
Yeah, dude, that'd be cool.
But apparently, I guess I'm wrong. It doesn't change the instrument trim.
It must be a Hellcat only thing.
Or it's a standalone option that we haven't gotten to yet.
But I would like to also point something out to Greg.
The flat bottom wheel.
Flat bottom steering wheel here.
I saw it immediately. I saw that.
At this point, for a sports car, muscle car, whatever you want to call it, is not a premium option. Give us flat bottom steering wheels. That's it.
Can I just say that after our whole little, back and forth about the flat bottom and the round wheel and you not liking it, when I was driving the car this weekend, I did notice that if I had a flat bottom wheel, I do like the flat bottom, don't get me wrong. The way I cruise, like when I'm driving on the highway, I would not be able to hold the steering wheel. I would have to change how I sit when I'm just cruising on the highway.
Wow. Because
I grab the bottom of the steering wheel.
10 and 2, man. 10 and 2.
10 and 2. Yeah. Yes, that's exactly how I drive. 10 and 2.
No, but and then another option that they're not showing here, and I guess it's probably not an option on the Scat Pack, is on the Hellcat, you can get like a cue ball shifter, which I really, really liked.
That's only on the 6-speed manual. If you go for the automatic, it's a different shifter.
Can I just say that I hate the automatic shifter on the way it looks on the Challenger and the Charger?
It works. It's not my favorite design, and I'm a stick shift guy anyway. And I will not take a Scat Pack in an automatic, even though it's faster. Even though the ZF 8-speed is like one of the best automatics on the market, my Scat Pack that we're building here is going to be a 6-speed manual.
Let me tell you something, Rob.
Vinny, you and I will give each other black eyes over this if we disagree.
Well, it's two on one.
Listen,
we're getting a stick. So
okay.
No, it's 3 all voting for the same thing.
Right.
Definitely stick.
Okay.
No, but all I was gonna say was, as long as Dodge is like the last holdout in like that school of row your own boat, we need to take advantage.
You need to support them in the fact that they have the balls to offer it in a stick shift when you can't buy a Ferrari now in a stick shift. So I support Dodge.
Okay, so
you got to get the nav.
100%. I'll
tell you something.
Bring for it.
The best nav system on the market is Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, the Uconnect system, 8.5-inch screen, touch screen. It's effortless to use.
Yeah, but the thing that kind of pisses me off here though is like, okay, you get that 8.5-inch screen regardless. The only thing that you're paying this $800 for is the navigation function.
But it's a great nav.
What's a good TomTom cost? A good Garmin. Did I just date myself?
Not even that.
They don't have TomTom anymore.
It's called Google Maps, man.
But I'm not gonna lie, man. I hate having to have my phone connected to use nav.
I think the 2021. I think the 2021 Challengers and Chargers have Apple CarPlay and Android wirelessly. So you really just have to have the phone in the car with the Bluetooth on. But I have the Uconnect nav in my Grand Cherokee, and it is the best nav system I've ever used in my life. So $795, it's a no-brainer to me.
Dude, we are so under the Mach 1's price. Of course, we're gonna do it.
All right. Okay, so then the stereo system, definitely get the Harman Kardon.
Here's the thing.
I would.
I wouldn't.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm open.
I have the Harman Kardon in my Grand Cherokee Hemi, and I have the Alpine, the base system, in my Challenger, and it's really,
you get a sub, right? So you get like a 10-inch sub or an 8-inch sub.
You get more speakers with the Harman Kardon, but most of the time when I'm driving my Challenger, I'm not listening to music. I'm listening to the glorious notes coming out of the tailpipe. And I personally would just go for the Alpine group. You don't have to pick either one on a Scat Pack because it comes with the base system. But if I were to upgrade, I would pick the Alpine over the Harden Kardon and save yourself at, $800. That's just me.
Well,
Greg, you're going to be the tiebreaker, man.
Dude, I got to let the Alpine play. Bumping new shit by NWA,
I mean,
we got to do it, man.
All right. To me, it's not a huge deal. If I was going to, spec this car and spend the money, then I would just get the Harman Kardon, because the one that I borrowed from Bondurant, it had it and it sounded really good. So that's
it's fine, but it's not, it's not it's good for a stock.
Yeah, it's not a deal breaker for me.
System, but you could spend that money and blow the Harman Kardon away with even the most basic aftermarket amplifiers and speaker setups. So, but whatever, it's a push. I'm not buying the car to listen to the radio. So,
sunroof, yes.
Definitely get a sunroof.
Yes, we live in Southern California and Arizona, so
that is one thing that I wish was an option on the Mustang.
Dude, look at this. This is cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty good configurator on Dodge.
That is the upgraded seats.
This is the Alcantara
and leather. Yeah.
I wish they had that roll bar option on here, but I guess that's only Hellcat and 1320.
I think the only option like that, they don't offer a roll bar, but I know on the Hellcats you can do a rear seat delete.
No, it's not a roll bar. It's like a harness bar, excuse me.
On the dash, you mean?
No. So like it goes
handle or
no, it goes right behind the seats here, and it's just a red bar. It's an aftermarket company that makes it for Dodge, but it's like $1,000 option on the Hellcat, and it goes right behind here. Yeah. That way you can run harnesses on these seats.
There are some arguments against harness bars in non-cage cars, but I don't think they hold true in modern cars. So I would be comfortable putting a harness bar in my new Mustang, not so much my old one. Not without a cage.
Well, I think that's everything.
No, we got plenty more. You have to keep
where? Down. Oh, powertrain, exterior.
Yeah, okay, I was gonna say we got a lot of stuff to go.
Okay, wait.
We haven't even gotten to the packages yet.
I scrolled too far. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Packages.
All right, you have to do on Challengers. You do the Plus.
It's already been added. We're good.
Technology.
So that comes with door trim panel and ambient lighting, premium stitch dash and door panel, Scat Pack logo. Greg, when we were speccing that Mustang, the ambient lighting was like $1,000 upcharge. Remember?
Yeah, but well, keep in mind that also got you the digital dash.
Yeah.
Why would you not have a digital dash?
Because it only comes in the premium stuff.
Okay.
These two packages, by the way, are automatically selected when we selected the Napa Alcantara seat.
Gotcha.
Right.
And these are great packages. They're really cheap for what you get. And and add the technology package.
Dude, $1,300 and you get the blind spot, high intensity, the HIDs.
I'll take the HIDs. I can't tell you. I mean, all of my cars have some kind of headlight upgrade on them. Like obviously the new Mustang has the badass LEDs, but I have LEDs in the black car. And if I could mount some of those like redneck truck light bars on whatever daily driver I have, I'd do it. I love having good headlights.
Okay, so we got the tech group, and that includes high beam headlamp control, automatic high beam headlamp control, rain sensitive windshield wipers. Welcome to the 21st century, ladies and gentlemen.
So does that mean I can't drive around with my brights on? Is that
what's that?
Does that mean I can't?
You can override the automatic thing. You can,
because sometimes I need to be,
If we were building an automatic, by the way, there would be more equipment in the technology group, but the price goes up. I think it goes up to $1,200, but you get remote start, which you can't have obviously in a 6-speed.
I mean, you could if you like to live dangerously.
I don't think I would like to live that dangerously.
You would get a remote start, and what else, Rob? A panini maker?
Remote start, and I think you get adaptive cruise control where it paces your car.
I want to try that. On paper, I'm a little leery of it.
Oh, here you go. Here's that.
I want to try it.
Here's that.
Now, what you're looking at, Vinny, on the Hellcats, when you get the Napa leather or Alcantara seating, it gives you the engine turned
Yeah, I know
instrument panel.
exactly what you're talking about. This is a little bit different.
Carbon and suede interior package is additional on top of that.
That is a for sure.
Boom.
Yeah.
It
gives you a real carbon fiber on the center console.
Interior appearance group by Mopar.
That I would pass on because you can buy those door sills and put them on yourself for about $75 off.
Yeah, this one ain't for me. Oh, a trunk mat with a logo and premium floor mats for $500.
I'd probably pass on that. Now, next to it though is an intro. We could talk about this. Would you delete the rear seat on your Challenger?
Me, I don't have kids. I don't typically have a passenger very often. I would get it just because it's $1 and it's, again, it'll be on the build sheet someday, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. I would tend to agree with you because I don't have kids either. But some people say out of the big three muscle cars, the Challenger is the only one that has practical rear seats.
Which is true.
So, yeah, I mean, there's an argument both ways. If you have kids, keep the seats. I think for the three of us, I'm
actually going to argue against that because I have a rear seat delete in the 94. Mm-hmm. My road race Focus had one seat in it, period. I enjoy my Mustang's rear seat now.
Okay.
Because I don't have to sit in it, right? So what do I care if it's tiny?
It does save a considerable amount of weight though. So if you're buying a Scat pack to go to the drag strip,
I'm not buying it. Honestly, this car would be a fun cruiser. I'm not.
Okay.
I mean, personally for me, but again, if it's 2-to-1, I'm good with it. Like I'm not.
It's a $1 option. So either way you go, you make up your mind. If you're going to track this car, get rid of the seats. If you have kids, keep the seats. If you
this thing is meant to be comparable to that Mach 1 that we did a couple weeks ago.
And we did not delete the seat.
We did not, but that's because there's not much of a seat to delete anyway. So I don't know.
And it was also like $500, wasn't it?
Oh, that's what it was. It was the cost. It wasn't the
Yeah.
They charge you $500 to take out the seats.
Well, to be fair, there's a really clean a delete kit that goes in.
What a bunch of crap.
But yeah, $500.
That can't possibly cost as much as a set of seats.
No, I agree with you on the bull crap.
That's a ripoff. And now we're getting to the end here. We all agree we're keeping the 6-speed. God bless you guys.
What's going on here? What's the MD?
No. That's displacement on demand. No.
MDS.
All right, relax. I just asked what it is.
MDS is the cylinder shutoff.
We don't want
available on automatics.
No, I like my camshaft the way it is. Thank you.
Yeah, manuals don't have it. I have the MDS on my Grand Cherokee. And when I tuned the car with my Diablo tuner, the first thing I did was get rid of the MDS. So now my Hemi Grand Cherokee runs on 8 cylinders at all times, like
Greg,
God intended.
On the LS platform, those DoD engines, they tend to have, once they get up in the high mileage area, those correct me if I'm wrong, but the cam lobes will get wiped. What happens there?
The lifters fail. Because the lifters are highly complicated.
Yeah,
I mean, a hydraulic lifter, like normally, isn't exactly this. I mean, it's simple, but it's still a very precise, assembly. Now add a whole bunch of complexity to that, and they're going to fail. I mean, they do fail.
So what happens when they fail? Basically, they stop functioning and they just wipe out those cam lobes.
Yeah, they can. If they fail spectacularly, you can see it kind of cock, and now that'll wipe out a lobe because you're rolling.
So is that true across all makes and models with that technology, or is that just the LS?
I've not heard the horror stories of the LS stuff in the Gen 3 Hemi MDS stuff.
No. In fact, in the about 10 years I've been on the Challenger forum and Hellcat forums, I've seen about 2 posts in all those years of a guy who had taken off the top part of his engine and showed a photograph of lifter failure relating to the MDS system. So Dodge has got it pretty down pat. The real problem that it works pretty seamlessly. If you're just cruising on the freeway, you don't notice there is no transition. There's no difference in feel when it slips into 4-cylinder mode or back to 8. The real problem with the MDS for guys that like to customize their cars is this. When you put a aftermarket exhaust on your car, like 90% of Challenger owners
lifter tick
are gonna do, no, you get drone.
Oh, really?
You get drone when it slips into the MDS mode.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because all of a sudden you've got different harmonics and
but that's something that I've heard. That's something that I've heard about the Gen 3 Hemi, specifically in the LX platform, is that lifter tick.
Hemis inherently have what they call Hemi tick anyway.
Well, the best part is nobody can identify it. Nobody can point to one thing.
No.
I mean, you've got people that swear it's the MDS stuff, but it exists on non-MDS engines.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the MDS is fine. I guess we'll keep that, and all we have to worry about is the transmission.
Yeah, I mean, we're sticking with the 6-speed, so forget about the MDS.
No, I know, but so what transmission came before the TorqueFlite 8-speed?
It was a 5-speed up until
and it was garbage, right?
It wasn't the greatest transmission in the world. It did have a manual slap shift option on the column, but there were no paddle shifters. And they switched to the ZF 8-speed in 2015 during the refresh, after the refresh. It's an awesome transmission. I have it in my Grand Cherokee. It downshifts into, when you brake, it downshifts with you really seamlessly.
That's cool.
But we're talking about a Challenger, for God's sake.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not trying to make an argument for the automatic. I know that that's been a point of, criticism for a lot of people with the LX platform. Those older transmissions were really not reliable.
Yeah, the 5-speed was not the greatest transmission in the world. The 8-speed is one of the greatest transmissions in the world. And if I was going to get a car in an automatic, I'd hope it'd have the ZF8. But again,
hold on, wait, before we start talking about that, can we just give Dodge some more props here in the marketing of keeping the name TorqueFlite?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
seriously, that is awesome. I mean, I don't want it, but good job, badass.
What would what's the modern? What came after the 6L80 or the 4L60? What comes in the new Camaro?
It's the same A10 that's in the Mustang.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so I mean, what if they chose to use like retro nomenclature? What would that thing be called?
Ooh, they could call it a turbo hydromatic 10-speed.
Hydromatic.
Yeah, TH10.
Yeah,
that would be a TH1000.
Yeah, a TH1000. Yeah,
that would be freaking awesome. That would be so cool. But think about it. Then you've got people talking about having a turbo 1000 in a Mustang because they share the same transmission.
No, they would call it a C
a C10.
Yeah, a C10.
Oh, that's not confusing.
Okay. Anyways, moving on. Taxes. This was not included on that Mach 1. What is happening here?
Oh, it probably was. They probably just weren't as upfront about it.
They just don't highlight it, on Ford.
Dodge. Why is there no info here?
You don't need any info. It's a 392 Hemi.
I need more info.
You're not buying it for mileage. You know what I'm saying?
You know what you're getting into, and if you don't, you deserve the $1,000 hit.
You can expect to get like 17 in real world use, about 17 mpg on a 392 car.
Okay, fine. Well, there's not an option to deselect this. Oh wait, is there? No.
Yes,
yeah, there. Oh, so what do we have to do?
I think you can avoid the gas guzzler tax if you select the TorqueFlite.
No, it says you have to remove the plus package, and you have to remove the Houndstooth interior.
What? Something that's got to be a glitch.
This is all immaterial, guys. I'll pay the gas guzzler tax. Okay.
All right, fine. We got to pay the tax.
Yeah.
All right. So engine block heater.
Nah.
What's it say? Engine block one. No.
We live where we live. You don't need it.
I mean, I live in the snow, for quite a few months out of the year, and you don't need an engine block heater.
Okay.
So
All right.
here we
Don't live
are.
in
How do we
Alaska.
compare price-wise, Greg?
We're about
About
10 grand under.
$10,000 less.
For the Challenger?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
But now here's the real question. Which one wins? The
At
Mustang.
what?
I think the
At what?
Mustang wins on
Okay.
any performance competition.
Oh, for sure. The Mach 1's going to win. Yeah. But the problem, okay, so here's,
Well, it
there's
depends.
nothing special about this car, right? It's not a special edition.
I mean, nowadays, no. I mean, is there something special about the car? Yeah. I think a Scat Pack wide body. I think there's something special about
yes,
it.
it's a special car in the fact that it's an extreme performance car, right? It's awesome. But what I mean is there's nothing that makes it different from any other Hellcat wide body, or Scat Pack wide body. It's not a 50th anniversary. It's not,
But you're getting into semantics with marketing, because like a Mach 1 is, I mean, more or less, I mean, you guys apparently had an argument about it the last time, but more or less it's just a bullet with another name on it.
But okay, but they only made the Bullet. They only made that new Bullet for 1 year. Who knows how?
I understand that. And for that extra money, you are getting a small bump in horsepower. You are getting a small bump in terms of suspension and wheels and stuff like that. So I'm not arguing.
Okay, but what about collectability?
Oh,
collectability.
There's no such thing as collectability.
What?
And you know what? I kind of agree with that, because especially with the modern cars, everybody's looking at it like it's going to be the next, dude, we're not going to be barn finding these cars in 50 years.
Look, collectability doesn't exist in the classic sense of the word. Like when you're talking about a GTO 70 GTO Judge, there's real collectability involved because they made a very small number of those cars. Okay. When you're talking about modern cars, these aren't limited edition cars. The closest thing you come to it from Dodge is a Demon, and a
Demon's not collectible.
No, I didn't say that, because they only made like 2,300 of them, I think. But they make thousands and thousands of RT Scat Packs.
I'm not talking about that's exactly my point. This car is not special. They've made, millions of Challengers overall and thousands of this model, right?
But the Mach 1 isn't a limited edition car anymore.
A 1 year production car.
Can I just make one point that you guys can do with it what you want? A 2012 Boss 302 Mustang.
Awesome car.
Collectible, right?
Yeah.
I can buy a ton of them right now on Carfax.com for $27,000.
Okay, but how much do they sell for brand new versus how much they're selling for right now?
Weren't they like in the 60s? They were like a Mach 1.
And you're talking about a car that's only 10 years old. That's not a fair comparison.
But
I'm just saying.
Here's the point I was trying to make. When Dodge released the Demon, they said, we are only making 2,300 of these and gone, one model year only. With the Mach 1 and before that, the Bullet, there was never a preset limit to production. Instead, they just said, we're going to run this for 1 year. And if 25,000 people want to buy a Mach 1 this year.
But they won't.
But that doesn't, you see, a collectible to me is something where, there is a very small, there's going to be a very small number of them built. And that's decided beforehand. It's not decided by the market. A Mach 1.
I disagree.
Well, the collectibility of it is going to remain to be seen, because you don't know how many are going to be built.
And if we're speculating, I'm speculating on Rob's side of it's not there. That's how I'm going to speculate.
I just think collectibility in general doesn't exist like it used to.
Of course not.
Because cars today, what we're all not haven't focused on is the fact that, what's going to happen 30 years from now when the electronics on these cars die? Are you going to be able to replace a computer, a PCM, or anything involved on a Hellcat or a Demon?
Well, yeah, we just use our flux capacitors.
Yeah.
Look,
But
I still think whether they limited production to a certain number or not, to me, I still think it's more collectible than this car that we're looking at right now.
I would agree with that, simply because the Mach 1's got, it's got a graphics package. I understand what you're saying. I have problem with the word collectability when it comes to modern cars in general.
Well, to me, that ups the value. Just that fact alone, right? The fact that it carries the Mach 1 name. The last time they made it was almost 20 years ago. And then the last time they made it before then was, even longer than that. So to me, there's heritage there. And I don't think that many people are going to buy that car to make it like, oh, that's not really collectible because so many of them were made. If they only make it for 1 year and they make, let's say on the high side, let's say they sell 10,000 of them, which they won't, that's still not that many cars.
Okay. I'm not, right now Dodge has a Hellcat Super Stock, and they haven't announced that they're limiting production in advance.
It's a very cool car.
It's what the market bears, and it's an 804 horsepower car. And you can be guaranteed it comes with drag wheels and tires, basically slicks. The closest thing, I think they're Toyos or something.
I love Dodge.
I'm looking it up right now, and it's a nice looking car.
They're so cool.
You can say, hey, that might be a collectible because not a lot of people are going to opt for a Challenger that comes with drag slicks. And the price naturally culls people out of the market for it because it's not cheap. It's about 3/4 the price of what Demons are currently selling for used.
The thing's so sick. The 80s like retro livery that they chose for that car was perfect.
I'd be happy to own a Mach 1, but I certainly wouldn't go into it thinking, oh, this is a collectible. Look at all the people who bought the Hellcat, the 2015 Hellcat, the first year, who thought, oh my God, this is going to be a collectible. Hellcats are a dime a dozen now,
I agree. I agree. That's not like the main reason that I would purchase that car, right? In fact, even before we started this episode, I mentioned if I had that same amount of money that it would have cost to buy that car, I would have bought a year-old GT350, and that remains true.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is it does add an element of added value to me. Whether or not that actually happens remains to be seen. I just think it's another element to consider when we look at this car.
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying. I personally, if I were going to buy a Mustang right now, it would be a GT500. I probably wouldn't think twice about a Mach 1 because it's this very small step above a premium GT Mustang, and it's
expensive.
And it's expensive. Whereas a GT500, you're talking over 700. Was it 750 horsepower? There is a big step in price between those two cars, but I think all things considered, if I wanted to buy a quote special Mustang, the GT500 is a lot more special than the Mach 1.
You know what's crazy when you start talking about that, Rob? Okay, we look at this car, right? 54,000. You got a spectacular piece of automotive engineering here.
Fast
right?
car, yeah.
But then you step up to like the Hellcat, right? And how far are we from a Hellcat? A Hellcat, let's say, is what, 75, brand new?
Hellcat, normal body Hellcat cars start at 64.9.
I'm on the site right now, and you can get a base Hellcat for $60,695, according to
that's incredible for $6,000 more than this car.
Yeah.
Well, that's zero options. Like that's,
but it's 300 horsepower, roughly more than, or about 250 horsepower more than this car.
But we gotta be honest. We made some very stylized decisions in here for the money.
Yeah.
If we made base car to base car, we might be looking at a bigger price.
Yeah,
right.
and Greg's got a point because the base Hellcat comes with cloth seats. it has none of the bells and whistles on it, and the technology packages are.
How awesome is that they actually offer that car with that, like with cloth interior?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to buy it with,
Because there's a small segment of the car buying public who want to get into the cheapest Hellcat they can, because the only thing that's important to them is that supercharged Hemi, and they don't really care. I know guys who buy stripped down performance cars because, first of all, it's lighter, and second of all, they plan to mod their cars anyway. So if you're gonna rip out the seats and put Recaros in, then what do you care if it came with cloth seats or leather?
Well, it speaks to the point that I was trying to make, and that's the disparity between that price difference, right? Like, so you got this one for 54, and it's a built 392, and for 10 grand more, or actually like less than 10 grand more, you can get a Hellcat.
Yeah,
but if you go look at Ford
here,
sorry, go ahead.
Is pretty much, except for the automatic, it's a loaded car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you go to Ford, right, and you build, a Mach 1, or let's just say you built a fully optioned GT, right? And
There's
then
a big difference in price to a GT 500.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. Like huge, massive difference.
Yeah, it's like $25,000 difference or something like that, right?
I think it would be more. I mean, can you find a GT 500 for less than 100 grand? I don't think so.
You can spec one out for 70. I think the minimum is like 78, right? Like, I mean,
Okay.
you can,
Base GT 500, it starts at 78, whereas a maxed out Mach 1 is what, 60?
Yeah, but let's say a maxed out GT is
that's why I meant to say not a Mach 1, a premium fastback GT.
well,
how much would that be? Like 48? 50?
No, premium GTs you can get into the 50s.
Oh, okay. All right.
Still a huge price difference versus $6 grand between a Scat Pack and a base Hellcat.
Exactly. That's pretty crazy to think about.
But then let's go the other direction and think about if you did a base model GT with Performance Pack 2, right? So every bell and whistle performance wise you can get on there. You now have a killer car for like 40 grand,
right?
40, 42 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think it's a matter of marketing. I think Dodge is probably did this. They dropped the price of Hellcat significantly when the Hellcat was introduced. It based at like close to 70. Now Greg is saying the base is down to 60. There's a reason for that. Number one, they came out with a red eye on top of it.
Yeah.
So they were able to make, like, the Hellcat is now the entry level SRT product,
right?
And then on top of it, now you have two models. You have a red eye and a super stock on top of that. And so they push the price down and push the price of the Scat Pack up a little bit, so they're very close. You can opt for a loaded Scat Pack at a very close price to a base Hellcat. That's pretty smart, because then you're offering something for everyone. The guy who just wants a stripped down supercharged car can get it for very little money on top of what this would cost. Whereas you could max out your options on this and come in cheaper than a Hellcat. It's their pricing strategy is to have something for everyone.
Oh, that's a great point.
Really smart. Yeah.
I can't wait to do Chevy, you guys.
Yeah. And then I also want to point out, I'm looking at the Hellcat right now, like the build your base Hellcat.
Yeah.
Their wheels are 9.5 inches wide. The base model. First off, it's a beautiful 5-spoke. 5-spoke done better than any manufacturer's 5-spoke.
Yeah. And they offer it in black or that graphite.
Yep.
All right, here, you share your screen then, Greg.
I don't know how to do that. Hold on.
Dude.
Let me see if I can do this.
So what, we're going to do a Camaro next?
Yeah, we have to wait until I'm back on. So I got a rare rides coming up. So
that's right.
Maybe I'll come back in a week or two when that publishes, and we'll build the. Well, what's the comparable Camaro?
It would be a 2SS 1LE.
Okay.
The 1LE is sort of the track focus package.
That's right.
Gives you magneto blah 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 shocks and
MagneRide. It gives you a ground effects package, a different spoiler. I believe I want to say Recaro seats. Alcantara is the only option on the interior. Heads up display, some other things.
And they offer it in crush.
That's right, they do.
Pretty good orange too.
I love that color, and I love shock yellow.
Yeah.
So good.
I like crush. I built it with crush, and our buddy Sean Davis, I think I mentioned to you, has a ZL1 in what's the red called? Race red?
Yeah, it's a basic name. Yeah.
Yeah, the race red pops too. GM, the Carmine red is the dark red.
Yeah, I don't really like that one as much. My favorite color on the 6th gen Camaro is the lighter blue. That's gonna bug the crap out of me. When I was shopping for one, I was looking for one in that blue color desperately, and I couldn't find one. I ended up getting a white one.
I think
like
6th gens in white look sharp.
They do.
Yeah.
I'm not normally a white, like muscle car kind of guy, but
yeah, I'm just not a white car guy in general.
It wasn't my first choice, but after I got it, I was like, man, I really like this. And when you see the 1LE, the 1LE only has a matte black hood, and so it looks really good, like stormtroopery.
Well, isn't it a carbon hood on the ZL1?
No, on the ZL1, yes. On the 1LE,
yeah, we're talking to 2SF. So let's do that next
Hyper
time.
blue.
Wait for me, and we'll build the Camaro next time.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna warn you. I'm gonna be a lot less involved, I think, on the Camaro.
Oh wow!
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I spent plenty of time before I bought a car. I spent plenty of time.
We're all friends here, and we playfully disagreed on performance spoilers today, and
we'll have to make this a series. We'll do the Camaro next, and maybe we'll take a look at some trucks after that.
We could do some Corvettes.
We have so many different directions we can go with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Heck
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the best thing about American cars these days, is that like muscle is pretty ubiquitous. Like if you think about it, we could be building V-Series Cadillacs. I mean, those are serious cars. Most people wouldn't from the outside consider that a muscle car, but I dare anyone to drive it and then get out and tell me it's not a muscle car.
Maybe we need to do the forced induction sedan next.
Hey, who knows?
What is it? The black? What's the new Cat? Yeah, the new Blackwing versus a Charger Hellcat.
Yeah, Cadillac changed up all their nomenclature, and now I'm all confused. Like there used to be the CTS and the STS, and now it's like CT4 or CT5. I don't know what's going on.
I've been a very big vocal opponent against that name change because I don't like it. I'm not familiar with it. It's not natural.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for them to bring back the North Star. What happened to that?
No. I don't care what you have to say negative about their marketing team. They're not that dumb.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, listen, you guys, as we wrap things up, I want to thank you, Rob, for coming back on the show. It's always a pleasure to have you here.
As always, my pleasure. And I've got a rare rides coming for all you guys. I'm not going to reveal now exactly what it is, but I'll just say you Pentastar guys will once again be happy. So
definitely keep an eye out for that, you guys. It will publish before the end of the month. And so as always, if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a comment in the comment section below. Let Rob know how much you love him, and he'll be back.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
No problem. It was a good time as always.
All right. Take care.
You too, man. By designing, engineering, and building the most powerful, reliable, and advanced centrifugal superchargers on the market, ProCharger's been the industry's leading aftermarket supercharger manufacturer for 25 years. No matter if you're looking for 3,500 plus horsepower for a record-setting Pro Mod, or looking for a DIY system for your street car, truck, or motorcycle, ProCharger has the perfect supercharger system for you. For more information on all the amazing ways you can bolt on 40, 50, 60, or even 100% more power to your ride, visit procharger.com. There you have it, Greg. Man, what a great episode. What a fantastic thing to talk about. I really have a lot of fun every time Rob comes on, dude, whether we're talking about movies, cars, what have you. And then to be able to kind of, banter back and forth and rib each other a little bit about some of the choices that we would make given our different preferences. It was a little bit fun.
Well, especially since he's usually on my side. So
yeah, I'm sure you enjoy that. No, but look, that's the fun of it. Speccing those cars and building them out, and is like, I might want one option and you might want another. And so I think it gives us a good amalgamation of what our audience might be thinking.
Yeah. Well, I honestly can't believe that we were unanimous on color, because of all the things, of all the options, I figured that would be one of the more contentious ones, right?
I agree. And just the fact that it was like such a bright color, if it was black, like, okay, usually everyone can agree on black or silver or whatever. Yeah. But to use Go Man Go and like unanimously be like, yep, that's the color.
Well, because that works on those cars. It just does. And especially like you said, you borrowed the car from Bondurant in that color. Like, I know it works because I got to see him and shoot him, and like
Surprisingly, I haven't seen that color in the wild like at all. I don't think I've ever seen a Challenger on the road in that color. You see him in silver, black, white, blue, red all the time. But I haven't seen that Go Man Go.
Well, there's at least one up here. I think there's actually more likely two, but there's at least one up here in Go Man Go. And the one I haven't seen in person in the wild is Indigo.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. Oh no, wait. I haven't seen that one. I saw the darker metallic red, which was fantastic.
Is that the cinnamon, or is that the other dark, like the vermilion color?
I can't remember. It might be cinnamon. No, it's not cinnamon stick. That's a little bit lighter.
Okay.
No, and the other one that I haven't seen in the wild is the F8 green. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, there's a couple of those that I've seen down in Phoenix.
I'd like to see the sales figures, see what color is the most popular. It's got to be black or white, right?
Yeah, black is probably the most common. I really don't know that I've seen. I can't think of the gunmetal, graphite. What did they call the gunmetal? Anyway, I don't think I've seen that in person, like outside of like shows. Like, I don't think I've just seen it driving around. So,
well,
I don't know.
Anyways, we were able to decide on Go Man Go pretty easily. Let us know in the comments section, if you're watching this, what color you would pick. What are some of the options that are mandatory for you if you were building one, and what would you let go if you were building one?
Yeah, did we get anything wrong? Like, seriously, is there something that we just completely got wrong?
Greg, that's ridiculous. We're always right. No,
well, that's the thing. If it's your car and you're speccing it out, is there really a wrong?
Like, yeah, dude, there's so many people who probably hate that color orange. Yeah. Let us know what you think about that Scat Pack wide body. Let us know what you think about the wide body in particular. Was I wrong? Was Rob right? Who knows? Drop a comment in the comment section below. Greg, as we start to wrap things up here, I want to bring up the giveaway. We did that. We announced that a couple weeks ago. So if this is your first time tuning in, or if you're a longtime viewer, about the giveaway that we have going on with Performance Distributors. So viewers at home, you have the unique chance to win new ignition components for your project. Whether that's a late model car or a classic car, you can either select from SOS Coils or a DUI distributor from Performance Distributors. And they've been kind enough to supply us with one for you. All you have to do is what, Greg?
Like or subscribe to the YouTube channel. I almost said like the YouTube page. That's I'm messing up the social medias, man.
It's all good.
But yeah, subscribe to YouTube and you're entered.
That's all you got to do to enter to win, is just click that subscribe button. And while you're at it, do us a favor and hit the like, comment, and subscribe button, or and notification bell as well. So, we really appreciate your feedback. Anything we can do to make the show more pleasurable for you guys to watch, we would like to. Let us know who you want on a future episode. And for now, you can catch this one and every other episode at noon Pacific time on YouTube and Street Muscle Facebook. So for now, we'll sign off and we'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.